Welcome to English Easy Hub. Join us as we ignite the flames of your English learning journey together.
Please subscribe to watch and embark on your English learning journey. Don't miss out on the exciting content. In this dialogue, Alex seeks guidance from the professor on enhancing the depth and variety of his language expression, particularly in writing and speaking. The discussion spans various strategies, such as vocabulary building, sentence structure, rhetorical devices, and finding one's unique voice. Throughout the conversation, Alex learns practical methods for transitioning new vocabulary into active use, balancing sentence complexity with clarity, and naturally incorporating stylistic devices like metaphors and repetition. Alex also inquires about developing a personal voice, avoiding forced style, and refining his spoken language.
Good morning, Professor. I've been reflecting on my language skills, especially in making my expression more varied and engaging. I feel like I keep using the same phrases, and it makes my writing sound repetitive. Could you help me with some strategies to broaden my range?
Good morning, Alex. I'm glad you're focused on this. Varied expression can truly elevate your communication. Let's start with the foundation. Think of language as a toolkit, with each word and phrase as a unique tool. By expanding your vocabulary, you gain more tools to create nuanced and precise expressions. Are you currently working on building your vocabulary?
Yes, I'm trying to learn new words daily. But they often just stay in my notes. They don't make it into my conversations or writing. How can I bridge that gap?
That's a common challenge. We often end up with a passive vocabulary, words we understand but don't actively use. To make them part of your active vocabulary, try to practice with intention. Choose a few words each week and set a goal to use them in different contexts. Start with simple sentences, then build them into larger ones. This deliberate practice helps shift vocabulary from passive to active use.
That sounds practical. So if I learn a word like meticulous, should I also study related words, like precise or methodical, and make sentences around them? Would that help solidify their meaning and use?
Absolutely. This technique, often called vocabulary chaining, links new words to related terms. By associating meticulous with methodical or thorough, you build a network of related words, which aids recall. Try creating small stories or scenarios where these words fit naturally, like describing a meticulous artist or a methodical scientist. With practice, these words won't feel isolated, but will instead become part of a larger, intuitive toolkit.
I love that idea of creating scenarios. I'll try vocabulary chaining. But I also get feedback that my sentences are too simple or repetitive. How can I create more complex sentences without making them confusing?
Great question. Sentence structure is essential to creating variety. Start by combining simple sentences into compound or complex ones. For instance, rather than "I study hard, I want to succeed," you might say, "I study hard because I want to succeed." This not only adds variety, but also shows how your ideas connect. You can also experiment with transitions like although, despite, or furthermore, which add flow and depth. The goal is to make your writing dynamic without sacrificing clarity.
That makes sense. Sometimes, though, I worry that adding complexity will make my sentences harder to follow. Any tips for balancing complexity with clarity?
Good point. A powerful sentence is often focused. One way to achieve this balance is to keep each sentence centered on a main idea, using supporting clauses or phrases to add nuance. If you feel a sentence is getting too complex, consider splitting it. Reading your sentences aloud is also incredibly helpful. It allows you to hear the flow and can reveal awkward or overly complicated phrasing. With practice, You'll develop an instinct for balancing variety with readability.
I'll definitely try reading aloud. Speaking of variety, I've been curious about rhetorical devices. They seem to add flair and sophistication, but I'm not sure where to start. Do you have any recommendations?
Absolutely. Rhetorical devices are like spices in cooking. A small amount adds a lot of flavor. Start with some foundational ones, like metaphors, which can make abstract ideas vivid. For example, instead of saying, "Time passes quickly," you could say, "Time is a river, always flowing forward." This adds imagery and impact. Other devices like parallelism or alliteration add rhythm, while repetition emphasizes key ideas. Experiment with them one at a time. You'll see how they can bring your writing to life.
I see. A metaphor or a touch of repetition could make my ideas more memorable without sounding too flowery. But how can I practice using these devices naturally?
Great question. A simple way to practice is by journaling. Choose a theme each day, such as growth, change, or ambition, and write a few sentences using a rhetorical device or two. Describe growth as a journey, or use repetition to emphasize your thoughts. This low-pressure exercise lets you experiment without worrying about perfection. Another approach is to observe skilled writers and speakers. Analyze how they use these devices and try to mimic their style in your own practice.
That's a fantastic idea. I'll start a journal for practicing rhetorical devices. I want to make sure my writing doesn't sound forced, though. How can I ensure that these new techniques feel natural and not overdone?
Excellent point, Alex. In editing, focus on clarity, flow, and tone. Ask yourself, does each sentence convey its idea clearly? Is there a natural progression from one thought to the next? Reading aloud helps here, too. It reveals whether something sounds stilted or overly complex. Be willing to simplify if a word or device feels out of place. Over time, these techniques will blend seamlessly into your unique voice. Remember, subtlety is often more powerful than complexity.
That's very helpful. I'll try to use these techniques selectively and keep the message at the center. It's tempting to try everything at once, but I'll focus on what feels right for the context. Thank you for these insights, Professor. I feel like I have a lot of new tools.
You're very welcome, Alex. Remember, language mastery is both an art and a science, a journey of discovery. Embrace it with patience and curiosity, and keep experimenting. The more you explore, the more your own voice will emerge. I'm excited to see how your style evolves.
I'm excited too. I'll keep practicing and bring some of my journal entries next time for feedback. This guidance has been so valuable, thank you.
It's my pleasure, Alex. Language is like a canvas, and with every skill you develop, you're adding new colors and textures to your expression. Keep pushing yourself, enjoying the discoveries, and remember, the most powerful communication flows from sincerity. I look forward to seeing your progress. Keep challenging those boundaries.
Professor, I was thinking, sometimes when I try to incorporate all these new techniques, I end up overthinking my sentences, and it slows me down. Is there a way to use these methods more instinctively without getting caught up in the details?
That's a fantastic question, Alex. It's natural to feel a bit slowed down when you're focusing on new techniques. The goal, though, is for these skills to eventually become second nature. Think of it like learning to play an instrument. At first, you're conscious of every note, but with practice, your fingers just know where to go. I suggest focusing on one technique at a time in your practice sessions. Over time, you'll find these elements becoming more intuitive.
I hadn't thought of keeping a reflection journal. That could really help me understand which techniques resonate with me and which don't. It's almost like having a map of my progress. I'll definitely try that.
Excellent. A reflection journal is a powerful tool for self-discovery. You may also find it helpful to read a variety of writers, not just to learn techniques, but to observe different styles. Notice how some writers use concise language, while others are more descriptive or lyrical. Reflect on what you enjoy and what feels natural to your personality. In doing so, you'll gather inspiration while staying true to your own emerging style.
That's a great idea. I've been reading more lately, but I haven't been actively analyzing different writing styles. I'll start paying closer attention to how different authors convey their ideas. Are there specific genres or types of writing you recommend for someone trying to develop a richer style?
Diverse reading is indeed the key. I recommend exploring a range of genres. For vivid descriptions, try fiction writers known for their detailed settings. For clarity and precision, nonfiction essays are excellent models. Poetry is fantastic for developing an appreciation for rhythm and word choice. Also, speeches can be a great source for rhetorical devices. Each genre offers unique insights into language, and by engaging with them all, you'll build a versatile, layered approach to your own style.
That's a wonderful suggestion. I can see how each genre brings something different. Maybe I could set up a reading schedule where each week I focus on a different type. Fiction one week, essays the next, and so on. Would that help keep things fresh?
Absolutely, Alex. A rotating schedule is an excellent way to keep your engagement high while exposing you to a variety of styles. Make notes as you go along. Perhaps jot down striking sentences or techniques you find compelling. Over time, this reading practice will contribute to your voice, as you'll absorb and adapt ideas that resonate with your personal style. And remember, this is as much about enjoyment as it is about learning, so let curiosity lead you.
I'll set that up. I can already imagine how inspiring it will be. One last thing, when it comes to giving a speech or presentation, I sometimes struggle with translating my written style into spoken words. Is there a way to make my writing more speakable?
Excellent question. Translating writing into spoken language does require some adjustments. When writing for speech, focus on rhythm and clarity. Sentences should flow naturally, so try shorter sentences and clear phrasing, as well as more conversational vocabulary. Reading aloud during the drafting process can help you identify and smooth out any parts that feel too written. Also, practice adding small pauses to emphasize key points. They give listeners time to absorb your message and add impact.
That makes sense. I often find that my sentences sound natural on paper but a bit stiff when spoken. I'll try drafting with shorter, simpler sentences and practicing aloud to see where I can add pauses. Thank you for all these insights, Professor. I feel like I have so many new techniques to explore.
You're most welcome, Alex. Remember, effective communication is as much about clarity as it is about style. Let your words flow naturally and make each one count. With practice, you'll find that your writing and speaking skills will complement and enhance each other beautifully. Embrace each technique as it comes and enjoy the journey. I look forward to hearing about your progress.
This insightful exchange highlights the essential principles for achieving a richer, more versatile style in both writing and speaking. By following the professor's advice, focusing on one technique at a time, practicing aloud, and reflecting on what feels authentic, Alex is equipped to explore language with curiosity and intentionality. The professor emphasizes the importance of clarity and natural flow, guiding Alex toward an authentic voice that balances creativity with readability. This dialogue ultimately serves as a roadmap for learners aiming to deepen their communication skills and find a unique, expressive style that resonates.
Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share to keep the English learning journey alive.